Okay, hi. This is for Cs232. This is for exam number 5. This is for my Sudoku solver. The main goal of this program is to take partly filling a 9x9 Sudoku puzzle solver and solve it by using a backtracking algorithm while also keeping track of rows, columns, and a 3x3 quadrants have been scanned. So first, I do want to inform that my rows and columns are all by 9 because it's a Sudoku, so it's 9x9 and the whole thing. But then I also break it up in 3x3, but I'll talk about that later. So I did a 9x9 2D array called puzzle. These holds are starting values of the puzzle. The zeros represent empty space cells that need to be solved. I've also created several Boolean flags that are used to track which the areas the puzzles have been scanned or analyzed. For example, scan top left quadrant for a single digit, scan row number 1 if I scroll down, and scan column number 2. So the quadrant tracking, since Sudoku is divided by 3x3 subgrids or quadrants, that's basically what I did in my code. I also did a cross-matching and cross-hatching quadrant arrays a little bit further down. Just because it makes it a lot easier for me to break it up in 3x3s. So I basically took all my Boolean variables that I created here and I explained them. I also did the pre-staged Sudoku that was given as the assignment. So this is my cross-matching quadrant, which I can later then validate the constrictions and track solving attempts. So this is when I then break it up into 3x3. I did mess up on this because I was putting parentheses instead of brackets. So my code actually wasn't working efficiently. So then I realized that I had to put brackets. So after all these lines of parentheses, it turned out to be wrong. So then here is another copy of the function. Of the grid, the quadrants by 9x9, and I separate them by each column. Like I said, I used parentheses instead of brackets, so I had to redo everything. But yeah, so here is a Boolean scan quadrant 3x3. This is the Boolean scan for each flag of the quadrants, which is what I did above. So if I scroll down, then this is when my function to display then the current puzzle state. So what I did was I see out the current Sudoku puzzle, which is the one that's already given, and I just plugged in zeros. So then I did it by 0, then I drew a line from there, and because the number already existed in the current row, so that the number also in the columns that is given of the assignment, and also too in the 3x3 quadrants that I created. So from there, I then use this to the function to check the number that's in place. So with all the columns given, so it's checking the row, inputting a 0. So I redid everything that I put a 0 in for the value, for the space I should say. Then I made sure that it checked the row, it checked the column, it also checked the quadrants, 3x3 boxes. Then from there I set quadrant scan flagged, and then the recursive solver of backtracking. So I made sure that there's no valid number found, and if that's then it will return true from the function show within the quadrants or scanned. So then this is my initial value, so this is all before my main function. So then I see in the initial puzzle, then I display the initial puzzle, then I see out the solved puzzle, and then if it doesn't work, then no solution is found. So if I run my debugging, debugger, I should say, it should automatically solve it for me because I already put dots in the spaces of where the puzzle was already given to me. And then after I go ahead and solve it, and then I made sure at the end that it scanned the quadrants 3x3 grid to making sure that every value, that there's no duplicates. So this is my Sudoku code. This is for CS232 exam number 5. And thank you so much.